how's it going? Welcome to Briscoe Motorsports. I'm Brian. This is my son, Cody. I want to apologize right off the bat for the horrible audio for the whole video that we've created for you guys. I apologize. It's our first time going. We didn't realize that the audio wasn't rolling. So I'm going to narrate a little bit of this as we get going. We are building a drift trike, an electric motor driven hub drift trike for Cody. These tires that we got were off of the front of a shifter cart. They're 10 inches tall, and they were just left over from a project that we had lying around the shop. A lot of this stuff is just created from stuff we had lying around the shop. The next thing, I think, we found an old mechanical brake caliper and a mount. So we're just going to use that for the front hub rotor. I bought a set of pillow blocks. They are 1 inch. I think they were $20 on Amazon, something like that. Had them shipped within a day or two. I also got a 36-inch solid axle, no keyway. I didn't go with a keyway because it's not going to have any drive system. That'll just be a tag axle in the back. The motor hub will be the drive, so it'll be front wheel drive. Next, I think we cut apart an old bike that we had found lying around, and I just wanted the steering stem out of it. You can see, I think I pick up the old frame. Yeah, that's what we cut it out of. So I just wanted the fork assembly and the steering tube so we can use it. So I didn't have to, one thing that I didn't have to make it easier on ourselves. So inside there's a fork tube, the nut, and that main tube assembly. I had a steering post left over from another project that we may or may not use that. We'll see. Now we are cutting the first fork tube. This will get more self-explanatory as the video goes on, but I'm just cleaning up the edges so we can get measurements and weld, and there's something to weld to. All right, here's the paper pattern that I made. I'm just going to transfer it onto a piece of 3/16 mild steel that I had. I'll actually need 2 of these. So I just kind of put a little mark so I can keep them both the same size. Both of them flat to the inside will be perfect. Tack the back side so it doesn't want to twist when I weld it. fork tubes made. And we're going to kind of fit them onto the hub. I cut and filed the groove into them so that they fit this just tight. One, we'll do the other one the same way. So that gives us our spread to make the triple clamp. Mount this in the center of this and finish up the triple. Just transfer the pattern twice because I'm going to upper and lower triple clamp. They both get two different things, but the outside shape will be the same on both of them. So, okay, I got the bottom plates cut out, sanded down a little bit, and I've got the upper fork tube that I cut off of the old forks that we're going to be putting together. So kind of drew a nice line. I'm going to keep it a quarter of an inch off the bottom so I have a place to weld. And I don't know if you can notice, but I've offset the forks a little bit. This is just so that the bike's going to want to center itself as it's riding. You know, if I put it even there or the other way, it's going to want to fall to the right or the left. So I kind of let the forks be proud about an inch. So we'll get her started here. Go ahead. Got it? Pull it out. All right, let's flip it and we'll do the other one. Okay, so I got all the parts and the pieces made except for the brake caliper, which I have to mount after I have it all mounted and welded so we can get that exact. So we're going to put it together. I started off with the original steering tube off of that bike, and it just was ugly by the time it got cut off. So anyways, I made a new one. I machined it. I got excited and forgot to videotape. But it was just a piece of 1.5 inch chromoly I had, thick wall, that I was able to turn down. So it's a hair bigger on the OD, but the ID was turned down correct to receive our cups. So anyways, that's what happened on that. We've got our bottom tube, the top clamp that's going to go together, our fork tubes, and our nuts. So we're just going to start putting her together and seeing how she goes. These are mock-up bearings. These are not the ones that we're going to be using, so we're kind of not caring too much about them. I don't know if I've said anything, but you got to make sure that you keep these threads. They're a real fine thread, and anybody that's taken a bike apart knows that it doesn't take too much to get them messed up. So you want to set that just so, like I said, this is just mock-up. I apologize if I haven't shown everything. You can always comment if there's any questions. You're starting to see the method of my madness. Well, I'm starting to see it. Are you in the way, bud? there's the steering tube assembly. I hope it makes more sense now, and I tried to show all the little pieces that we built. This will be part of the frame eventually here. I still have to do the brake caliper, which I'm not 100% sure how it's going to go, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it mounted onto this wheel so it holds everything straight, and then I'm going to weld the bottom triple clamp to the forks. So the only way to take it apart is to take this off up here. So now you see why I welded the bolts in, because I just thought it would be a better look for the acorns to sit on top. One thing, these are kind of the bearings that we're going to replace, so I'm not too worried about them. But I've welded enough stuff to know that if you use the table as a ground, that it's going to go through that bearing and destroy that bearing, heat it up, kill the nylon sleeve that it's in, whatever. So you always kind of be careful when you're welding like this, especially since I have an electric motor in here. I wouldn't want it to ground on this electric pin over here and have all the amperage of the welder going through that table. So I don't know if you see, I kind of blocked it up so I'd have this as the ground where I weld the back. I want to get two good welds in on each side before I take the wheel off and take it all apart to weld it for finished. So that's just a heads up. Anybody that's welded a little bit done it before, so just trying to give everybody a fair shake. I'm making a little bracket to hold the caliper bracket, and I've just kind of pushed my finger in really hard to indicate those holes, and that locks in like that, and then I'll weld this on. It'll be part of the fork. Then the bracket can mount to that, and the caliper will be there, and it should work. Alright, I got the piece mounted, calipers in. I used the pair of needle nose to clamp the brake and hold it so it would center it. So I'm just going to give it a couple tacks, and then we can take this thing apart and weld her up. Checking my ground. Turning the welder on. I haven't successfully been able to weld with the welder off yet. Okay, that's it. Now we can take it apart and weld it up for good. Okay, part one, I'm calling finished. We've completed the tire, the wheel, the brake assembly, the triple clamp, and we're going to be, let me show you, the caliper's finished now. And then we just need to run a cable to that. Part two, we're going to be working on the frame and the rear end and the back. But this was probably the hardest part of the whole build, was figuring out all the geometry and how everything was going to work on this. But stay tuned. Okay, we're back. I got excited and I built another piece without filming. So I'll explain what I did. We had a cruiser frame, and we just kind of cut it apart for the head tube. I ended up not using the head tube. Then I saw, the center part of the cantilever frame was kind of cool because it was teardrop. So we ended up keeping it, and we made it fit. We made it fit the bike. So I set up the rake about where I want it. It's probably going to be about right there. But we set up the rake. I welded it on. I'm probably going to do a gusset in here, mostly for coolness, not for anything. I don't think it needs it. It's not going to have a lot of force on it. But we're continuing on. We're going to start building this lower frame, and we're going to kind of size it up. I had Cody sit on this box and simulate about how high, or this piece of wood, to simulate about how high it was going to be. Yeah, jump up. I got no plans. We have no plans for this. Just a rough idea of what we want to do. So we're kind of guessing that the handlebars are going to be here. We can make them a fire. We can make them a blower. We can put them wherever we want. But I wanted to make sure that the crossbar was far enough away where the tires, wheels are going to go, and we have to have batteries, and I think they're going to have to go behind him. So, like I said, we're just kind of freestyling this. I don't have anything locked in, but we're going to continue on. We'll take it. The next thing I'm going to do is we're going to get the heights. I'm going to build the back part of it to mount the back part of the frame to mount the rear wheels and the pillow blocks for the axle. So we'll carry on